Welcome to another episode of Lakeside View. I'm your host, Big Win, along with Kurt. What's going on, Kurt?
What's up, man?
Oh, man. What's not up?
It's been a crazy day.
Oh, man.
Crazy week, actually.
Crazy week.
Yeah.
So, start off with the free agency. I mean, we put all our eggs in the Kawhi Leonard basket. You know, we waited for this guy to make a decision all week. Kind of strung this thing along. Monday, Tuesday, no word. Wednesday. Thursday was the holiday, didn't hear anything. And then Friday, the news drops about 10:30, 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah.
He's a Clipper.
He's a Clipper.
He's a Clipper. That wasn't as surprising as finding out that the Clippers, while acquiring Kawhi Leonard, they also traded for Paul George. I mean, what are your thoughts, man?
Aaron Mintz.
Yeah.
The guy's obviously got a vendetta against us, which it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a rough week, man. It was a rough night. I think I probably ended up going to bed about 3.
Yeah.
I went falling asleep about 3 this morning. And, he's entitled to make his decision. And, I think that the part that bothered me the most is the fact that he strung us along for as long as he did.
Yeah.
He apparently, reports are out today that he had he met with us and then he went and met with Paul George and, he was doing all this stuff incognito and all this espionage that was going on, man. It's like, just be a man about your decision, man. If you didn't want to come, you should have told Jeannie and Rob at the time of the meeting. Apparently he didn't have much to say in that meeting. Obviously he's not interested in being a legend. Good luck, all the bad luck in the world to him and with the Clippers.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is, man. The thing that I'm most happy about is that Rob, Jeannie, and company started to execute a plan, and that plan came into fruition today. And looking at our roster, well, it started last night, didn't it? Looking at our roster, we didn't do too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
We talked about some of our targets, and I'll let you run it down, man. As far as who we got.
So it was a quick turnaround from, doom and gloom, like, oh man, we wasted all this time waiting for this guy. Immediately he makes his announcement. Danny Green signs for 2 years, $30 million. I mean, people talk about we need shooting. There's your shooting right there. Shooting / wing defender. Can't ask for a better player than Danny Green.
Perimeter defense.
Oh man, the guy's going to be a great fit with this team.
He's a 3-and-D guy, no doubt about it.
No doubt. Next thing you know, a few hours pass, and you start seeing the news trickle in. We signed JaVale. Immediately after JaVale comes back.
Welcome back, JaVale McGee.
Absolutely. As soon as JaVale comes back, Rondo signs on. So now we got 2 guys that are familiar with the system. They were here last year. They've got some chemistry with LeBron. As we all know, JaVale had to, LeBron's second most assists to a teammate last year were to JaVale McGee after, of course, Kyle Kuzma, who we were able to keep. Next thing you know, later on in the day, we signed DeMarcus Cousins. Oh, man, that was huge. That was huge. Anybody who watched the NBA last year knows that DeMarcus Cousins, he was giving Western Conference centers the business last year. Jokic with Denver could not handle him. Nobody else on the Western Conference could handle this guy. He was a huge problem defensively for any of the Western Conference centers. He's now on the team. He's got a chip on his shoulder because nobody's picked him up. And the next thing you know, we bring in Quinn Cook, another former Warrior. So you got Quinn Cook and DeMarcus Cousins, 2 guys that felt like they didn't get the opportunity they deserved last year with the Warriors. Now are on the Lakers. It's a situation where, and then Alex Caruso. Just got news that Alex Caruso just re-signed with us for 2 years.
2-year deal.
I mean, I can't say enough about these guys right here. These guys right here, man. I mean, a complete 180 from last night, looking like we were going in the wrong direction. All these free agents that came off the board while we were waiting for Kawhi Leonard. Next thing you know, Rob Pelinka, man, he put on his big boy pants and he got the job done.
No question, man. I mean, the biggest thing for me is, in our previous videos I talked about, I wanted to take a look at DeMarcus Cousins. So we didn't, not only did we get the guy, we got him for 2.5, 3 point?
It ended up being like 3.5.
3.5 million?
Yeah.
So we got him for a steal.
Yeah.
We re-signed Rondo on a 2-year deal at the vet minimum.
Yeah.
So we still have money. we actually have money under the cap right now. We could go out and get possibly, an Avery Bradley or
Kelly Oubre.
Kelly Oubre, probably not Kelly Oubre, or maybe possibly. I don't know. I think we need another wing guy that could offer some defense and some 3-point shooting. I don't know if that's going to be Korver. I don't know if that could potentially be Iguodala. But at the end of the day, man, we did exceptionally well with our roster. We were talking about who we missed out on. We talked about our free agent targets. For me, at the beginning of free agency, before this Kawhi mess, I was like, if we can get maybe Patrick Beverley and Seth Curry for our backcourt. I was not a big fan of bringing in Russell. I did not want to bring in Russell. I know the kid's got talent. I know he's proven himself to be a bit more mature, but a mature guy's not getting popped at the airport with weed on him. Just recently. So, I was not a fan of bringing him back, knowing what that type of personality brings into a locker room. I thought it'd be bad for our chemistry. So I'm not mad that he didn't come back. I thought, like I said, Patrick Beverley, Seth Curry would be good deals. But I'm going to tell you what, I'd trade either one of them for Danny Green right now. And while I love Patrick Beverley's defense, I think Danny Green's just as good defensively. I could be wrong, but I think Danny Green, Patrick Beverley, I'll give it to him. He's an elite defender, a decent 3-point shooter. I think Danny Green gives you all of that without the lunatic, he had the crazy behavior. And then the other guys that we brought in, man, that we haven't even talked about. I always forget the kid's name. The kid from Phoenix.
Troy Daniels.
Troy Daniels. He's not even on this.
That's right.
Troy Daniels is here. We didn't talk about Jared Dudley, who's a vet who I'm not a big fan of. Obviously, he has history with Kobe.
Yeah, Phoenix thing.
But at the end of the day, this cat, he's not a kid, he's about my age, but this guy could shoot, and he could probably defend still a little bit, but he could definitely shoot, and he's very efficient from behind the 3-point line. So we've got the spacing that we did not have last year. This roster is constructed to, support and provide cover for LeBron, and also we have AD.
Yeah. I don't think that's talked about enough. I mean,
we have AD.
People seem to forget we got the most skilled big man on our team.
The planet.
On the planet. And not only that, but he's got his running mate when he was in, and I've seen the memes online, the Los Angeles Pelicans. I mean, it's lame stuff. But the fact of the matter is, when these two guys play together, 25 and 12.
But time out. Talk about that. The Los Angeles Pelicans. So, first off, what do you think the Pelicans are right now? The Lakers,
the New Orleans Lakers.
So let's put that aside.
Right.
That Pelicans team, and yeah, I get it. Rondo's a year older, whatever. I get it. DeMarcus is a year and a half removed from his tearing his Achilles. But that team, as they were constructed, was extremely competitive in the West.
Absolutely.
They smashed Portland.
Yeah.
And and Portland pretty much had the roster they had that just got to the Western Conference Finals.
Right.
They smashed Portland, and had Boogie been healthy, they'd have gave Golden State everything, all the problems in the world. I'm not saying it would have beat Golden State, but they'd have been a real problem for Golden State. And by the way, that team just added LeBron James to it.
Right.
And Kyle Kuzma. And others.
Right.
We've already talked about the other cats around that squad. So we took the 3 best players from the Pelicans that year. And Holiday's a monster, I'm going to give him credit. But we took the 3 best players, in my opinion, from the Pelicans that year and put them on this team. One of those guys isn't in his prime yet, and he's already considered a top 5 player in the league.
Right.
The other guy came back from a pretty serious, significant injury last year, which again showed me his work ethic and his commitment to getting right. Went on to tear his quad and was back in a month in the playoff games.
Yeah.
And contributed to that Warrior team. He actually carried them to their 1 win in the finals this year.
Yeah.
So I'm not mad. You talk about load management, those guys are going to get the opportunity to rest. We're not going to have DeMarcus playing 82 games. It ain't going to happen anyway, but he's not going to play a ton of games. He's going to get his rest. We've got JaVale, who was one of the most efficient Lakers on the court last year. Mm-hmm. Before he got sick, that cat was money. I love that we have that dude back. So, at the end of the day, man, we got better, far better than we were last year. And I'll be shocked if we're not competing for a championship this year.
I agree, 100%. I mean, the way the roster's constructed, you got guys that can fit any role you need. If DeMarcus Cousins needs to have some time off, JaVale could slide right in. If you want to go with Anthony Davis, we all know he doesn't like to play the center spot, but you can go line up with Davis, Kuzma, LeBron, Green. All those guys are 6'7" or above. I mean, you're just going to have fits. You're going to have nightmares trying to score on those guys. Anybody could rotate over. You have rim protection. You have the ability to get out and run on the break. So if we get steals, JaVale is hitting that trailer position, and he's going to dunk all over.
People in the lanes, filling lanes. It's
Kuzma, it's looking like this is the way that this team was envisioned to be set up when we brought LeBron in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the kids weren't ready. Rob Pelinka turned it around and said, you know what, I'm going to fill this roster with people that I know are going to surround LeBron James and be the most successful with this guy.
Well, you just said it. We got rid of the kids and we brought in a bunch of grown men.
Yeah.
And these guys have all proven themselves in the league. They can all play. And what if Danny Green doesn't hit his threes? He still defends. He's still an elite defender.
Yep.
And the threat of the three is there, so you got to guard the guy.
Absolutely.
So, he is, he brings a dimension to the team that we did not have last year. We thought we'd had it with Brandon Ingram, but we didn't.
Right.
He's going to bring that wing defense. He's going to be that defender that we need. Yes, we re-signed Caldwell Pope. Listen.
That's right.
Yeah. KCP, he's maligned. We've got, our own individual feelings about the guy. But here's what I will say. This is his third year in a Laker uniform. There's continuity there. There's a relationship he has with LeBron. Obviously, we know about Clutch Sports and all that, the Clutch Management, whatever. But we know about all that. But he's got familiarity with the team, familiarity with the environment. I know the coaching staff is new pretty much, but he's been part of the franchise. This will be his third year.
Right.
So I'm hoping that the guy shows what he did in Detroit the last year he was there. Hoping he gets back to that guy. He's still young. I think he's 27, 28.
He's in his 20s.
So, if he can come back and perform. Again, he was brought in to be a defensive specialist to basically shut down Steph.
Right.
And you're not going to shut down Steph, but to guard Steph.
Guard Steph, yeah.
And he before he came to LA, he had demonstrated through, previous matchups against Steph that he made it hard for the guy.
Yeah.
So if he can get to that level, and there's no pressure on the guy now, none. Just go out there and play. We don't need you to score 15 a night. We don't need you to carry be our lead scorer off the bench, carry our bench. We don't need you to do any of that stuff. Just go out and defend, hit the occasional three.
Yeah.
Don't smoke layups.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Turn your hand over and dunk those.
The ball. Yeah.
And just play to your ability, and you should be fine.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people weren't real high on bringing Rondo back, but again, with regard to Rondo, and we go back to early videos. Please watch earlier videos, by the way.
Definitely.
I like the fact that Rondo, obviously up here, understands the game better than just about anybody in the league. Him and LeBron can relate, and they click. But also, he has great chemistry with the two guys that are going to be new this year, two bigs. And they trust and believe in him. And again, realizing that his best basketball is behind him, we got the guy on a minimum contract this year and next year.
Yeah.
That is a steal, man. Rob Pelinka did his thing today.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't praise that guy enough, man. And I know all the naysayers, all the haters, people can watch this. If you're a Clipper fan, man, hit eject, hit stop, and go to a different video because we don't want you here.
Yeah.
But if you love the Lakers, you'll understand exactly where we're coming from. We've been, people have laughed at us. People have talked a bunch of garbage. People have talked about how mismanaged we are, how poorly, how dysfunctional we are. But you know what? And then the morons talking about, well, Magic saying what he said probably didn't help Kawhi coming to the Lakers. It's like, look, dude, you're a grown man.
Yeah.
If you're so worried about what everybody's saying about you, then this ain't the right place for you.
Yeah.
Kobe said it best. If we got to convince you to put on this jersey, you got to convince you to put on these colors, then you ain't the right guy.
Yeah.
Keep it moving, man.
Yeah.
Straight up. And like I said, they'll do well. I'm not gonna act like they're gonna suck. They're not. They'll do well this year. But I went to Vegas, put my money on the Lakers winning the championship, and I stick by that. I stand by that.
Definitely. I mean, kind of touch on this whole situation, man. I don't want to put too much time into it, but I got to get some things off my chest, man. So this individual, man, I'm not even gonna give the guy the benefit of using his name. This individual, man, he used us as leverage. He intended to go to the Clippers the whole time. He strung us along. the reports come out that he allegedly asked us to wait 2 to 3 more hours because the Clippers didn't have a deal for Paul George yet. So he knew he had the intention of going to the Clippers. He knew that if he were to leverage us into it, because everyone knew that that's where he was going, he was able to buy himself more time and bring in this other guy. This other guy, who I won't use his name, is the same cat who 2 years ago didn't even give us an interview. He re-signed with the Oklahoma City Thunder because he loved Westbrook so much. All of a sudden, this cat gets a phone call from individual A and divorces him. Now all of a sudden, there's rumblings about he and Westbrook have had problems. I mean, this league, man, is just full of just these new age weirdos. I mean, there's no sense of honor. There's no sense of just being about your word. If you had no intention on coming to this team, just say so. You know, just say, hey, look, thank you, Jeannie. I appreciate you guys, you know, having interest in me, but I'm really interested in going to this organization. I feel like this is a better fit for me, and that's where my focus is.
I don't have what it takes to be a Laker.
Right. So be it. You know, I understand, you know, what you just pulled off last year. Good for you. But the fact of the matter is, you sat there and asked us to give you 2 more hours for an unknown reason. And we all know what it was.
It was a punk move.
Yeah, it's just like, look, man, have some respect for yourself. Have some respect for the game. We all know when cats like that don't have respect for the game, what happens to them? They fall off. The game, you're not bigger than the game.
No.
And to me, it's like, it all comes back. And again, it's like, look, man, when you negotiate in bad faith, you now have a reputation. And again, the Lakers are a classy organization. We're not going to come out and badmouth this guy. We're not going to come out and say, hey, look, this guy was a piece of garbage. But he just showed himself to be a real sucker. Plain and simple. And Clippers, if you guys want to support people like that, by all means, you guys can have your coach who was planning parade routes before he even got there, hasn't gotten out of the second round. You guys can enjoy those types of people. We're going to bring in people that want to be on this team. Caldwell Pope wanted to come back. JaVale McGee wanted to come back. Rondo wanted to come back. If this organization was so miserable, why did those 3 guys want to come back?
LeBron committed to 4 years.
LeBron committed to 4. He hasn't committed to 4 years.
Anywhere.
Even when he was back in Cleveland, he was doing 1-and-1s. This cat gave us 4 years because he knew, he saw the vision. He saw what we were capable of. And lo and behold, look where we're at now.
AD gave up the $4 million trade kicker.
Why? Because he knew what it was.
And people, you know, media types will talk about, oh, well, why you shouldn't get your trade kicker if you request a trade. No, it's in the contract. You get traded, you get your money.
Right.
He didn't have to give up that $4 million. Would you give up $4 million if it was your choice to? Probably not. Most of us wouldn't. Let's be real about it.
Right.
But he did, because he recognizes what it means to wear those colors back there, man, that purple and gold. So, you know, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that, you know, when you have a guy who did what he did, paired with another guy who had a after-school special about him wanting to come to LA and being so torn between LA and Oklahoma, and then before free agency even started making the decision, before you even had an opportunity to talk to anybody else, us or anyone else, you made your decision, whatever. Those 2 guys are, hey, you know what? They're made for each other.
Absolutely.
And I've watched the OKC underperform the last 2 years in the playoffs. Let's be real.
And the regular season.
And the regular season, for that matter. So, you know, good luck to those guys. Good luck with load management over there. They've got a decent team. I'm not going to act like they don't. They've got a very strong team. But, you know, if you're putting all your eggs in the you know, PG-13 basket, good luck with that, bro. That didn't work out very well for Westbrook. So we'll see how it goes.
Right.
You know, and then people talk about, well, what big 2 is who the most dominant big 2 in LA? Like, why would we even dignify that with a response? When did George become a top 5 player in the league?
Right.
And Kawhi, as great as he is, and he is great, you take him over LeBron or AD? I mean, it's arguable. He's younger than LeBron, I get that. But would you take him over AD?
No.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Well, you definitely wouldn't take George over one of those 2 guys.
Absolutely
And
not.
you'd argue about the other guy. So I think we know who the best 2 in LA are. But with that said, let's just play, man, and see what happens. And if you want to wear the purple and gold, you're going to be the type of guy that steps up and says, I want to be part of the purple and gold. You mentioned how it comes back. There's a gentleman right now, I use that term loosely, who's been on like 8 teams in 8 years, who's pretty much out of the league now, who had an opportunity to join the organization and stay part of the organization. And that dude is a laughing stock right now. I'm not even going to bring up his name. You all know who he is. You know?
You all know who he is.
So, you know, talking about how, you know, it wasn't always sunny in LA. It was definitely sunnier here than it was in DC last year, and Charlotte the year before that, and Atlanta before that, and everywhere else.
And everywhere else.
So, and then, anyway, so yeah, man. Moving on. It was frustrating. It pissed a lot of us off, us Laker fans off. But what's really been refreshing is seeing how quickly and decisively this team has been assembled. And like I said, we're probably missing a piece, maybe a piece, but I'll roll these guys out against anybody in this league, and we'll see what happens.
I agree.
I'm betting on these cats, man, because I have faith in these dudes. So
I agree. I mean, I'm looking at the starting five, man, the potential that we have. I mean, you're looking at Rondo, Green, LeBron, AD, and JaVale, or Cousins. Or you can go, you know, bring Kuzma in at the 4 and then put AD at the 5. You can rotate those 3 guys. The front court is set. I think this front court is definitely going to be the best front court in basketball. And you don't have anybody that can compete with those 4 guys. Again, you have Kuzma, who's averaged 18 last year. DeMarcus, 18 and a half, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Cousins, who, I mean, his talent is immeasurable, especially at the center position. The guy can step out from 3. He can hit your mid-range jumpers. He's a load on the low block, which for some reason they don't teach anymore. In my day, that was a big thing. Get your drop step on, and you know that was one of the most indefensible moves. But in any event, you put DeMarcus Cousins on the low block, and he's giving you that. He's giving your center problems.
No doubt.
You know, and then on top of that, you have JaVale McGee, who was an athletic freak. The guy was he averaged 16 and a half for the All-Star break. The guy was averaging 2.5 blocks. Again, man, just rim protection, whatever you need, we got it in the front court. And then on top of that, you're adding LeBron James.
You have a hard time scoring layups against us next year.
Absolutely. And then on top of that, Frank Vogel's the coach. We all know Frank Vogel's the defensive specialist coach. Yep. He's going to make sure that these guys are dialed in every night on defense. If you're not playing defense, go ahead and have a seat next to the coach.
And you know, that's the thing is having Vogel, at least now, I feel like we'll establish an identity.
Definitely.
We'll have a defensive identity, and if you want to grind it out, we can grind it out. But I really think that these guys are going to get up and down the court.
Absolutely.
And you know, it's not going to be close. You know, everyone's talking about Utah, and Utah's got a good on paper. They have a very good line, very good starting 5, but their bench is suspect.
Sure.
And you know, again, I heard one of the commentators say, at the end of the day, do you trust, you know, Donovan Mitchell to stare LeBron James down on the court and be like up to that task? I don't.
Not at all.
Or any of those other guys that play for, you know, Rudy Gobert, any of those other guys. You know, like you said, we've got the most talented big man in the game. Giannis is a monster, but he can't shoot.
He can't shoot.
AD can.
Yeah.
And can do everything else that Giannis can.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward, man. This is going to be a great season. You know, we're not bitter Laker fans. We're pissed off Laker fans because again, you don't string us along, man. We got 16 chips.
Right.
I don't want to hear about, well, Ballmer has all this money. And by the way, one thing I'm just going to say in closing about that is Blake Griffin said it so eloquently, and I'm no fan of Blake Griffin, but he said LA's not all it's cracked up to be. You know, Blake Griffin had Mahatma Gandhi comparisons, and Muhammad Ali comparisons, and what happened to him? Traded that season.
That's very
like weeks later, he got traded.
A year after he signed that huge extension, they got rid of him. They told him he wasn't going anywhere.
And then they bring in Tobias Harris, who just signed a multi-year deal in Philly. So he got traded as well. So, you know, that's how the Clippers treat their best players. And where's Chris Paul now? And also DeAndre Jordan, where's he? Like, you're going to get traded eventually. One of you guys are going to get traded eventually.
Yeah, when you're not winning championships, which we all know you're not because you're not capable, somebody's going to you have to break that team up. Somebody's going to go, they're going to scapegoat somebody. It's just what the Clippers do.
Yeah.
And again, you look at the difference between their organization with no chips and our organization with 16.
About to be 17.
We know what we're doing.
Yeah.
People want to come play for this team because they know that we're going to take care of you. We're not going to re-sign you and then trade you to some location that you don't want to be in. We're not going to bring you in and say, hey, look, this is what we have planned for you, and then get rid of you. I know people are going to say the whole, Magic Johnson and Lonzo Ball situation. Look, Magic's no longer with the team in that capacity. Lonzo Ball did not fit what we were doing. I hope Lonzo Ball all the success in the world, but, he was an ends to a mean. We brought in AD because of Lonzo, and we're better off for it. Those draft picks that we gave to New Orleans, hey, those are all going to be late picks. You want to do pick swaps? We'll take your earlier picks.
No doubt.
All our picks are going to be late 20s, possibly the number 30 pick.
Right,
You can have those picks.
We'll take your picks in the teens.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. We saw Zion play yesterday. The guy hit knee to knee. He's going to be done for the rest of summer league. I mean, he's a big guy. I don't know if his knees are going to hold up. We've seen previous number one draft picks. Their knees have exploded. They've missed a year, come back the following year. I mean, if that's what happens, I'm not saying that's going to happen, obviously. No one wants to see anybody get injured.
No.
But, hey, whatever. Hopefully the Pelicans can, find their own level of success. All I know is that this team right here, these guys turned a situation last night from a negative to an absolute positive.
Yep.
And the thing that you and I discussed that was really interesting, who do we miss out on?
Yeah.
I mean, Seth Curry.
Seth
I would
Curry.
have loved to have had Seth. Dallas paid him eight years,
$8 million.
over 4.
Yeah.
But I mean, who do we miss out on? We didn't overpay for
We
anybody.
talked about Beverly, but again, I mean,
He wasn't
He
leaving
probably
the
wasn't going to leave the
Yeah.
Clippers anyway.
He turned down an extra $10 million.
At least he says he did, but yeah.
Allegedly,
Yeah.
right? Well, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean,
Yeah.
the Kings just paid Trevor Reeves
Yeah.
25 over 2, so he
Yeah.
probably did offer him an extra 10.
Yeah, that's real.
But I don't think that Beverly was going to leave the Clippers regardless of what happened.
No.
There really was no other name that I was really interested in.
Like I said, so there's people out there that are like, well, we could have got Russell back. No, thank you.
Yeah, no thanks.
For me,
No thanks.
no thank you. I would have preferred to have gotten the roster that we have. We needed vets. We need guys that can play.
Right.
LeBron doesn't need to teach a guy how to play. A guy needs to be able to step in and
And
contribute.
be able to play.
And
Right.
contribute.
Right.
So, Kyle Korver's out there potentially. Maybe we bring him in.
That's what I want.
Hopefully Andre Iguodala, works out a buyout situation.
And him too.
We have 13 guys on the roster. We bring those 2 guys on. We have a full roster. The other thing that I would also keep my eyes open on is the buyout market. It's going to happen. It happens every year.
Yeah.
So there'll be a player that will get bought out sometime during the season that will go, this guy's actually a good player. So we'll probably keep at least one of those roster spots open. And when we do that, when that buyout situation happens, we have money under the cap.
Yeah.
But who wouldn't want to come play with the first place team, which is where we'll be at that point in time,
Exactly.
once you clear waivers.
And I mean, again, going back to what you said before, man, Rob Pelinka was just, he was treated like,
He doesn't know the cap.
Mule.
He doesn't know the cap.
And miraculously, this guy that doesn't know how to manage a cap, who was an agent all these years, somehow managed to sign 13 players, have a roster of 13 players, and still do that while underneath the cap.
With 2 max level guys, even though we know AD's not making max money, he's eligible for it next year. But point being is 2 guys making like more than 50% of the salary cap.
Right. Wait a minute. I thought he didn't know what he was doing. I thought this guy was just some rube from, back east somewhere.
He fell off
off the turnip truck. Yeah. This guy came in and he did a masterful job of bringing in the type of players that we need.
Yeah, that can't be stressed enough. Again, I mentioned it. DeMarcus, $3.5 million this year. That guy's got $15 million a year talent, no question about it.
If not more.
I mean, he's got max level talent when he's healthy. The only question mark is his health. And again, we'll be able to manage him this year in terms of his workload. We'll be able to manage that this year. JaVale is a quality center. Obviously, he could start. We know AD doesn't want to play center, but he could fill in as needed. You can move Kyle Kuzma in and have him play a small ball center 5 if you want to.
Yeah.
So we've got options there, and we can get, DeMarcus, we can get AD, we can get LeBron. That recovery time that they need, that load management that is so in vogue now, we can provide that for those guys. And we're really the only team that I can see who can do that in terms of, like I said, if DeMarcus comes in right, and I believe he will, we've got 3 all-star caliber players. That's equivalent to what Golden State had.
Right.
They had 4. But what Golden State had when they were winning championships is multiple all-star caliber players. And for guys out for a week or 2, it's cool. We'll just pick up the slack, and we won't blow them out by 20. We'll blow them out by 15.
Right.
So, I'm looking forward to seeing how that shakes out this year, man. I think that we are going to. I don't see any team in the West that scares me. Houston doesn't. I have no issue. I have no fear of Houston. I have no fear of Golden State. So bring it, man. Let's get it on.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, going back to what you kind of touched on it before with the load management, it's a situation where you're looking at with this other team in LA. If you rest those guys, who's going to step up for them? Who do they have that if you, yeah, Lou Williams.
I like Lou.
He's a great player, man. I mean, he's got what, 8, 12, 6 Man of the Year awards.
Something like that, yeah.
The guy's a great player. He played for us for a little bit. He's not going to give you what those other 2 guys are going to give you.
No.
We're in a situation now, like you said, we got 3 potential All-Stars this year. If AD has to take some time off, DeMarcus Cousins is going to pick up that slack.
Yeah.
If LeBron has to take some time off, Kyle Kuzma's going to pick up that slack.
AD's going to pick up that
AD's going to pick up the slack. I mean, we have several cats that can step into that role and fill it in nicely.
Yeah.
So I think we're set up for all the success this year. I'm looking forward to going up against those other guys in Los Angeles, and I'm looking forward to us matching up with the Houston Rockets and anybody else. I mean, Golden State, obviously, they're going to take a back seat. And I mean, that has to make us the favorite this year. So I can't say enough good things about Rob. That guy had a heck of a night last night and this morning, setting up these deals in such a short period of time. And looking forward to the season.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, man. Well, we're going to go ahead and sign off for this episode. Thanks for watching another episode. Lakeside View. I'm your host, Big Win. You guys hit the subscribe button so you guys can see any of our videos going forward. Hit the notification bell so you guys are notified once we drop any new videos. And see you next time.
Take care.